This episode of FilmRiot is brought to you by Domain.com.
Today on FilmRiot, we fix some audio. Welcome to FilmRiot, the show that takes mystery out of the effects and techniques, going to some of your favorite Hollywood films. I'm your host, Ryan Conley, and I say it often, sound is one of the most important things in a film, and there is nothing more frustrating than when you have a great take that's blown by one sound or a bunch of noise in your audio track. So today, we're taking a look at a few ways to clean up your audio. So you shot your scene and you got to editing and found that it sounded like this.
Race to assemble a weapon so powerful it can knock out your opponents in a single blow. A one-hit kill. One-hit kill is an easy to learn and fast-moving drawing from.
We have a bunch of noise in this scene. A bell sound from an incoming text. At some point it sounds like someone hits a mic or taps the boom pole, but all is not lost. We can do something about this. First, we're gonna look at the noise, which there are a few ways we can attack this starting inside of Premiere. Inside Premiere, I'll go into Audio Effects and grab Denoiser. Then I'll click Edit and adjust these parameters based on the type of noise you have in your audio. For this clip, I dropped the reduction all the way to -20 and the offset to 10 dB. And you can hear now that it's toning down some of that higher hiss that we were getting. After that, I'm gonna add dehummer and click Edit again. In here, I shifted my number of harmonics to 3, set my frequency to 120, and the Q to 60, which is just how wide or thin the affected area is. And then I set my gain to -60. Then if we click Output Hum Only, we can single out and refine what we are trimming out of our sound. Then make sure to uncheck that, and we're good. Main thing to keep in mind here and be careful of is that you can easily make your audio sound too trebly with this effect, so just adjust to preference. Finally, I'm gonna add an EQ effect, then turn on one of the bands and lower the Q, which again is that area we're affecting. As you can see here, I'll get that area pretty thin. Then I'm gonna do a bell sweep. This is where I move that band back and forth across the frequencies to find problem areas.
Card game of ridiculously overpowered weapons and monsters.
Like right here, we're getting a lot of that hiss, so we'll pull down this frequency to dampen it a bit. Then we'll add a few more bands and do the exact same thing, finding problem areas and then pulling them down. And now we have this. Before,
race to assemble a weapon so powerful it can knock out your opponents.
And after.
Race to assemble a weapon so powerful it can knock out your opponents.
It isn't perfect, but we're able to pull that noise down to make it less distracting. And if we wanted to take it even further, we click our clip and send it to Audition. Inside of here, there are two main things you can do. I mean, there are more than two, but these are the two I do most often. First is adaptive noise reduction. This one's non-destructive until you bake it in. You add the clip as a rack effect, and then once you add it in, you'll see that right off the bat, you're gonna get some pretty solid results.
The card game of ridiculously overpowered weapons and monsters and cuddly rabbits.
What's happening is it's identifying that noise in the audio and then going to work to reduce it, which is why you're gonna get that second or so in the front with the noise still in the track before it's adjusted. So you need to keep that in mind and make sure you have that top handled to your track when using it. Down here we have the controls to finesse what you have. First, I always turn on high quality mode. It's power hungry, so beware of that. Then we have reduce noise by, which is by how many decibels the effect is turning down that noise. Noisiness, which is the percentage of the original noise that you're adding back in or taking away. Fine-tune noise floor, which is letting the effect know at which dB and below you want to consider the noise and unwanted sounds. Then threshold, which is the opposite. Everything at this dB and above tells the effect that this is sounds that you want to keep. Then spectral decay rate, which is sort of like your gate. It's how long it will hold the adjustment before returning. Then moving on to noise reduction process, which is destructive, meaning once you apply it, it affects the original file, so keep that in mind. First thing that we're going to do is to select an area that's just noise that we want to reduce, like this here. Then we click Effects, Noise Reduction Process. Then we're gonna capture the noise print right here. Then hit Command A if you're on a PC to select your entire file. And I'm never gonna go with just default settings here, but my custom settings are usually pretty similar on everything I do. First, up here we have a visual display that shows us the high in yellow, low in red, and the threshold in green. The high is the sound that you want to keep, like my voice, and the low is the noise. The threshold is the point that the effect is working or not. So the first thing I'm gonna do is to adjust the line here to get as much green below the yellow and above the red as possible. Next, I'll move to my noise reduction and reduce by. These are the same as with adaptive noise reduction, so I'll finesse this until I land on something that I like. But you have to be careful with this. If you do too much to get rid of that noise you don't want, you will end up with something that sounds like it was recorded in a tin can owned by aliens.
The card game of ridiculously overpowered weapons and monsters and cuddly rabbits.
I have been guilty of letting this slip by into my audio as well. One thing I've learned that it's a lot better to have a little bit of noise left in there than to have that warble, which is very distracting. So, don't do that. Next, we have one of the most helpful sections, output noise only. Check this, and we're just gonna hear the noise that's being processed and eliminated from your audio. So if we turn this on and then move our threshold, you could see if the green goes above the yellow, we start to introduce the actor's voice, since you're telling the plugin to work on that as well.
Ridiculously overpowered weapons and monsters and cuddly rabbits.
So when I bring it below the yellow, we lose all that and we start getting just noise. Then if we twirl down advanced, we find a few useful things in here to help us dial it in, like spectral decay rate. This is the percentage of frequencies that will be affected. I usually keep it around somewhere near 50 to 60%. Precision factor, which is exactly what it sounds like, and I set that as high as I can. Smoothing helps to soften the transitions between frequencies that you're affecting, so you don't want to go too high or too low. Take some time to find the sweet spot with this one. So with some work to finesse all of your settings, you can land on something that will do a lot to rope in that nasty noise. Now we take a quick break and then remove a text message.
I am a businesswoman, an entrepreneur if you will, and in today's technology environment, that means I need an epic website.
I'm gonna have to stop you there. Technology doesn't really make any sense.
Got it.
Yeah. But maybe you could say something like...
Got it. I got it. I don't need a line read. In today's vast and vicious landscape, full of villainy, it takes a machine gun toting company to land my business and hard-earned dollar.
Okay, I'm gonna have to stop you again. I'm pretty sure that the client won't want to be associated with guns, so maybe we could... Okay.
I gotta tell you something. I learned early on in life, borderline fetus early, that when an idea hits you like a semi-truck, which will totally explode your body into unrecognizable pieces, you need domain.com.
Okay, I'm next to positive that they won't want their name associated with graphic imagery.
Got it. Tone it down. Great direction.
Right, but maybe we could just read what's on...
I don't need a line. There's a list of 400 plus domain names, and they are in a steroid-induced growth spurt. I'm talking .com, .net, .club, .design, .dragon slayer, so you can slay dragons!
I'm sorry, Emily?
What, man?
I'm thinking maybe we could just read what's
You are
on...
ruining gold.
I just think it would be best if you read what we wrote for you here.
That's corporate. I'm an artist.
We write this for you to read. What was that?
Oh god. It's just so gross.
Is that real?
That's
We're
corporate.
paying you to do this.
How much are you paying me?
I'm not saying that in front of the crew.
Write it down. Show me. To give you some love, Domain.com is giving you 25% off their already affordable prices when you buy domain names, web hosting, and email. Just use the coupon code FilmRiot at Domain.com's checkout. So when you think domain names, think Domain.com.
Logo.
Last thing that we are going to look at is removing this.
Opponents in a single blow.
The first thing that we're gonna do is go to View, then show Spectral Frequency Display, and here you're getting a much different and much more detailed view of our sound. And what this lets us do is literally spot heal or paint out sounds entirely. So if we play, when we hear the text, you can see a visual representation of that frequency right here. So now we can grab the healing tool here and paint over our sound, let it do its thing, and then once it's done, we have
Knock out your opponents in a single blow.
And the same goes for this mic hit right here. We paint it out, let Audition go to work, and then we're good to go.
Kill is an easy to learn and fast moving drawing from...
And there you go, a handful of ways to clean up your audio, but that is it for today. You can do the Twitters right here. We also have links to our Facebook and Instagram in the notes below if you'd rather. And I'll see you guys next week when I try to get rid of a gopher with plastic explosives.
In today's vast and vision,
Right. Nailed it. Moving on.
What is this, amateur hour for me?
I'm saying.
Seriously, you get it together. In today's vast and vicious landscape, I don't need line.
Read.
I'm just gonna stay out here forever.
.club, .design, and .growth spurt. What?